Welcome back to another stream. And today I think we have quite a fun topic. And actually, it will not just be today. I want to build an AI chatbot with the AI SDK from Vercel, with Hono, which is a Node.js bun JavaScript framework for building backend or full stack applications, TypeScript, and probably also a couple of other packages, and very likely not just today, because, well, this hopefully is a bit of a bigger project where we can add more and more features. So the idea really is to build this across multiple streams. Since I typically don't stream for like 6 hours, I think that should be quite fun. So yeah, hi everyone, nice to have you here. I hope you will like this. For today, I did already create a little project. But I'll go through that project, what it is and how I created it in a second. But it's essentially a Hono project, or a Bun Hono project. So I created it with Bun, which is an alternative to Node.js. And I installed the Hono framework, but I'll walk you through this setup and what Hono is, of course. That's the idea. So that's what I built here, or what I set up here. And as I said, the goal is to build, as a first step, an AI chatbot. And then we can take it from there and we can make it more powerful. We can try building AI agents, since that's like the hot thing this year. So that might be something we do. So a bunch of stuff we can do here. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you already know, but this today is the first time I'm also streaming this on YouTube. So I finally sat down, installed, or created an account with Restream, which you can apparently use for streaming to multiple platforms at the same time. So that is what I did. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's the first time. I hope everything will work there. But of course, you can also watch on Twitch if you want to. Yeah, I'm streaming on these two platforms. Yeah, congratulations. Finally, I got it to work. So yeah, there is that. Yeah, okay. So we will be using the AI SDK by Vercel for building or for reaching out to AI models, to OpenAI, for example, because I haven't used this library too much, just played around with it a bit, but it should simplify the process of interacting with those AI APIs. And it should also simplify the process of switching between different providers, if that's what you want to do. So we'll be using that, and I already said it, we'll also be using Hono, or I'll be using Hono, and you can watch me use it, I guess. And Hono, as it says here, is a web application framework, which you can use to build, I guess, technically full stack, but also, of course, standalone backend applications with Node.js, so as an alternative to Express, or also with Bun. And that's actually what I'll be using here. Bun, in case you don't know, is an alternative to Node.js. It's a JavaScript runtime, just as Node.js is. But it claims to be faster. It has been released, I guess, 1.5 years ago, version 1.0, I guess. I'm not sure, but yeah, roughly around there. And yeah, I also only played around with it, so that's a nice opportunity to dive a bit deeper and learn a bit more about it, I guess. So Bun is what I'll use, Hono is what I'll use, the AI SDK is what I'll use. I'll also use TypeScript, and maybe we'll also add authentication to the app and then use BetterAuth. We will see. So, as I said, I created a starting project, and I basically created an empty folder and then ran Bun in it. I got Bun installed in my system, of course. And I then installed a bunch of packages, which you can do with Bun install or Bun add, essentially just as you can use npm. And I installed the Hono package, since I want to use that, of course. I will install the AI package soon. I have not installed it here. And I installed the Vite development server so that I can use the Vite for development. And then I set up a basic folder structure here. And what I did is I created a root entry file app.tsx where I essentially import this Hono thing from the Hono package, create a new Hono app, just as you might know it from using Express. There you also create an app. The code looks a bit different, but it's in the end the same. And then you can register middleware and route handlers just as you know it from Express in the end. Here I got a middleware for serving static files from that static folder so that I can serve images and stuff from there. And then here I got a get route for /nothing for the root page. And then here's a really nice feature offered by Hono. You can actually use JSX right inside of it. I guess it's supported by Hono and also by Bun, which makes this really awesome. So I'm using JSX here to return the index page, which is something I'm importing from the pages folder. And in there, it's from this index.tsx file, which I guess is imported automatically here. So we could also have /index here. I did not add this import, it was auto-added. And in there, I got a component function, as you might know it from React, but this is not React here. This is a Hono Bun project, but it is basically the same code you might know from React. I'm exporting it, have a shared layout here, which is yet another component function. And then I got some code in there to inject different scripts and styles for development and production. And the Vite dev server, thanks to this config here, takes care of bundling everything and yeah. So that's what I built here. Okay, now let me go through chat. Wow, we're a lot of people here. That's awesome. Welcome everyone so much. Awesome to have you around. So many Udemy people here, I guess. That's awesome. I hope you're liking the courses and you're getting a lot out of them. Will the video be available to watch after the stream? Yeah, I will release all stream VODs as I have in the past on this Maximilian, on this Maximilian extended YouTube channel here. So that is youtube.com /@Maximilian-extended, and I release all my live stream VODs there. So yeah, it will be available. Okay, yeah, Flutter Udemy course got updated. Probably just a typo, nothing big. Yeah, so that is the starting project I created. Now, what I also did in this project and what's also supported by Hono, which looks really nice, though I have to say I have not worked with Hono at all. I had my first look at it today, so I'm not sure if it's really nice. But what looks nice is the fact that it does not just have all that server-side stuff you can do with it, but it also gives you like a client-side library, you could say. So here in this client folder, in this counter.tsx file, I got also a functional component, but in there, it might look like React because I got use state in there, but actually that is being imported from this client-side Hono library because, as I said, it supports both. And this counter.tsx file is actually loaded into this index.tsx file with that script. So here I'm referring to it. And then it's targeting this div to take over that part of the page. So this page is server rendered. It's rendered by this code. But then in that page, I'm injecting some client-side code, which is also controlled by Hono, but which is not server rendered. You could maybe set it up to also pre-render that on the server. I have not explored that yet, so I don't know if that works or how it works, but it's really nice to like build a full stack app here with this React-like syntax with JSX and all that stuff without actually using React or Next. Now, not because Next would be bad or anything like that, it's just interesting to explore alternatives. Also because the Hono framework claims, if I can find it, that this client library they expose is only 2.8 kilobytes big compared to 47 kilobytes by React without Next.js. With Next.js, it would be even more. Now, that's not necessarily a problem, but yeah, I guess nice to have. But might also be totally broken or not work that well. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, so that's what I built here. Hey, Bloody Red, awesome that the book finally arrived. I also got my copy here, so in case you haven't heard, I released the second edition of my React Key Concepts book. So if you want to learn all about React and you're not just into online resources, but you, like me, occasionally like to pick up a book, this might be for you. You can get it on Amazon, for example. Simply search for React Key Concepts. But enough of that. That is the starting project I have set up here. And with that, I think we can dive into setting up a page that allows us to enter a prompt and get back a response by an AI, because that's ultimately what I want to build here. Do you have any plans for a live stream on Angular? No concrete plans, but I basically want to stream about everything I also cover in my courses and more, like today. So why not? Definitely possible, yeah. But not planned right now. Full course on Hono, not planned right now. Also because I just started exploring it today. I'm definitely not an expert and I can't tell if it's really great. But I'll try to have a look at it whilst building this app. And we can have a look together. So that's amazing. Congratulations for the new book. Thank you so much, Raj. That's amazing. Too kind. Can you please name the font and theme you are using in your VS Code? So the font should be the default. Here it's Menlo, Monaco. I have not changed that, I believe. So that should be the default fonts you have in VS Code. The theme, however, no, the theme is also just the Dark Plus theme. Dark Modern, I guess. It's the Dark Modern theme, which I think comes together with VS Code. Yeah. One such course we will like in web dev is a performance course, performance optimization. Yeah, I agree. That would definitely be interesting. Also security. A course on web security would also be interesting. The problem just is there are so many interesting topics and time is always like the limiting factor. But yeah, I'd love to create more courses like this too. But maybe I can also like cover them on my YouTube channel or here in the stream and then some parts in courses. We'll see. Are you planning to update the Vue course and Next 3? So the Vue course is up to date to Vue 3. Sure, you could definitely like add new content or you cover Pinya in there. But I got no concrete plans on that right now, to be honest. And also not for Next 3, sorry. Okay, so let's get started. And I want to get started by adding a new page. Which I'll add in that pages folder, not because I have to. This is not file-based routing. It's just the way I want to organize this. So I'll add it here in pages. And in there, I'll add a chat.tsx file because guess what? We want to build a chatbot. And then in there, I'll have my, my chat page and got GitHub Copilot doing its thing. Yeah, but I don't need that, I guess. And in this chat page, I'll keep it simple at first, and then we can fine-tune the styling. Oh, by the way, for styling, I'm using Tailwind. I got that set up as well. So I'll keep it simple at first here. So I'll just add a form with a text area like this, and a button for submitting it, and I guess a label for the text area, your prompt. Then I need the, it's the for attribute. It's for and not HTML4 because it is JSX, but actually not React. So I am allowed to use that here. So here I'll have my for attribute, then here my ID attribute, and give this maybe like 3 rows, like this, and a name of prompt, and then for the button, we can say submit. So I have a very basic form like this for the beginning. React Native update and advanced Golang. So React Native is very likely this year. I'll probably just wait for the next major version to be released. Can't promise it yet, but definitely something I'd love to do. At Golang advanced, no concrete plans right now, to be honest, but maybe. Hi Max, I have a job thanks to your React and Next.js tutorials. Thank you very, very much. Hey, walkie-talkie 35. Messages like this are always amazing because I've said it before in other streams and I'll say it again. I do create all this content, all these courses, and of course you get feedback through reviews and so on, but hearing from people that got a job or started a business or anything like that thanks to my courses or with help of my courses, that's always amazing. So thank you so much for sharing this feedback. Okay, back to this chat page. I got my form here, and then I want to have a div where I can output the chat history below, and we'll work on that later. And I'll export this chat page here. And then we can set up a route here in the app.tsx file, which is the root entry file of this server. So I'll register a new get route. And if you visit /chat, let's say I want to return this chat page, which in Hono you do by using this context object that's passed to this route handler automatically. And this context object then gives you access to the request, for example, to the response. You can also set a body, for example, a HTML body, by calling the HTML method that belongs to this context object. And to this method, you could pass some HTML code as a string like this, or that's the nice thing, you can also use JSX here. So I can import my chat page from this pages folder in the chat file and then use it like this. So that's really neat. And with that done, we should be able to visit a super ugly, because we have not styled it, chat page. Of course, I need to start the development server first, which I can do here in this project by running bun-b dev. This -b flag forces all processes that are executed behind the scenes, like Vite, to use bun and not Node.js. So with that, it's now up and running. That's the starting page here. And now, by the way, that's the starting page with that counter, which works. That's that client-side component. But now we can visit /chat. And we see our form here. As I said, totally ugly. As expected. Now, what I also want to do is I want to use my shared layout, which injects some styles. So I will actually wrap the layout component, if you want to call it like this, from this shared layout file around my form here. And with that, that looks a bit nicer, but still, of course, it's not styled the way it should be. Will this be available after the live stream? Yes, it will. On youtube.com/Maximilian Extended. Not the prime agent. Maximilian Extended. Maximilian Extended. Like this. I upload all VODs there. Okay, so I got my chat here. And I'll go through more questions later. No worries. Just want to make some progress with this app here. So now we got the page. But of course, now we need a way of, I guess we need two things. We need a way of sending whatever the user entered into this text area here to an AI model, like OpenAI's 01 or 03 model or anything like that. And then we also need to update this page, of course, with the response we're getting back. Now, for communicating with OpenAI, with the API of OpenAI, I will use the AI SDK by Vercel. Now, you don't have to do that, of course. OpenAI has, of course, its own SDK, which we could use. And I guess you can also just send a request to some REST endpoint. You could do that. However, I want to explore this AI SDK by Vercel because, as I understand it, it should simplify the process of interacting with an AI API, and it should also make it easier to switch between different providers if you wanted to. So the first step is to install that and then use that to send the message to the AI API. Therefore, I will install this core package, which, as I understand it, consists of two packages, the AI package named AI and this AI SDK package. The AI package exposes all the functions I can use to interact with these AI models, and the AI SDK package then exposes different model providers I can connect with that AI package, so that I can use OpenAI or Google or whatever I want. So I need to install these two packages. That's what I'm saying. Therefore, I'll stop my development server and run bun add or if it were a node project, of course, npm install. But here I'll use bun add and install the AI package, and then install at AI SDK OpenAI. I guess that was the name. Yeah, AI SDK OpenAI to be able to interact with the OpenAI APIs. And then I can restart that dev process. Whoops. Is it still, did I kill it? Yeah, okay. So that's one thing. Now, I also don't want to communicate with that API from inside my client-side code. Now, actually, this page is still rendered on the server, but I will soon add client-side functionality to update the page when we get back a response. We could, I guess, also do it all just on the server with server-side rendering, but I want to stream in a response and update it on the fly, and I think that will be a bit easier if we like build a kind of decoupled frontend. I guess you could do both, but that's what I want to do. So therefore, I also want to register a route here on the backend, a post route, let's say, that then actually reaches out to the OpenAI API, because I will need to authenticate myself with the OpenAI API via an API key. And I don't want to expose that on the client side. So therefore, I'll communicate with the OpenAI API on the backend here. So I'll add a new route, a post route, chat, we could say. But now here, I actually want to use that AI SDK and send a request to the OpenAI API. Now for that to work, and I'm sure they're saying that somewhere in their documentation here, for that to work, you need to set up an API key. Let me see, OpenAI key, OpenAI provider. You have to install this package, and then you need to provide an API key. Genau. You actually don't have to provide it because by default, it will look for an OpenAI API key environment variable. So you need to have that variable set and or add this API key configuration option here to this configuration object when setting up that OpenAI provider from the SDK. Oh, my window blinds are coming up, I guess. So I have this key already set up here in this env file, which I'll not show to you because it's my key, not yours. But you need that, or we need that. So I have that set up. That's all I'm saying here, I guess. So therefore, I can set up my OpenAI model by using this package I just installed. So I can import from at SDK OpenAI, and then from there I can import OpenAI. Gosh, these take long to go up. Execute this as a function, and that's all just what they're saying in their documentation. And actually, they're saying create OpenAI would be correct, so I should probably do that. But what's up with this OpenAI function here? Default OpenAI provider instance. Can't I use that? Well, I guess I can also use that. Oh, but then I have to specify the model I want to use first. Okay, so I actually will do that. I will create a new OpenAI provider by calling this OpenAI function here. And then I would love to use O3, which is supported, but I'm not able to. I'm not using the OpenAI API enough to be unlocked for that. So I will use GPT-4o here. I think that should work. Then I could specify my API key here, but I don't need to because, again, I already have that environment variable with the right name set up. And therefore, I guess, don't need any special configuration. That should be the provider set up. And now in that chat route, okay, that code is not correct. In that chat route here, I can now use the other part of that package, the AI package here. And then there are various functions you could use for communicating with your AI backend, your AI API. For example, there is the generate text function, which does what the name suggests. It uses an AI to generate some text, so to generate a response to one of your prompts. So to get started, I can use that. Make this an async function because I assume that generate text will yield a promise. Yes, it does. So we can await this. Pass a configuration object to it, probably. And let's see, is that the right way of using it? Generate text, set a model, and add a prompt, and await it, and we get back an object which has a text property. So I'm using my model. Now for the body, when using Hono, I can get my prompt, let's say from the incoming request, by using C, so this context object.json. At least that was my understanding. Oh, no, it's C request JSON, like this. And that will then extract the body from the incoming request if it uses JSON, if it's of type application JSON, and then gives us the parsed body here. And I assume that I then have a key named prompt in this incoming JSON request body. And that is then the prompt I want to send to generate text. And I should get back a result object, which I can destructure to pull out lots of information, as you can see, but also the text. So the text generated by the AI. And then I can send back a response by calling JSON, now just directly on the context instead of on the request. And when calling JSON on the context, I'm sending back a response of type JSON here. And yeah, I'll just include my text here in the response. And hopefully, if everything is set up correctly, I should therefore now be able to send a post request to /chat on my local development server, include a prompt property in my JSON request body, and get back a text response. And before I'll connect this to the front end, I'll give it a try here. I have this nice extension REST client installed in Visual Studio Code, which allows me to create .http files like prompt.http. The name doesn't matter. And I can then define my request in there and test it from in there. It's essentially an alternative to Postman. So here I want to send a post request to localhost 3000/chat, content type application JSON. And then the prompt is, how are you? Let's ask the AI this. And if I now click send request, this might take a while because behind the scenes it's reaching out to the OpenAI API. But then, it's probably a bit hard to see because it's behind the chat, then I get back a success response by my server, but only because it got it from OpenAI. And that is the AI generated text. So that is working, which is great. And that's an important first step because now we can wire this up to the front end. But first, let me see what I missed in the chat. A lot, as it seems. What about Remix? Why I'm not using Remix here, you mean? Simply because I also want to play around with Hono and explore that. Am I going to update the Node.js course? Actually, besides the React Native course, the Node.js course is the second course I absolutely would love to update this year. Got lots of exciting ideas for that. I'm just never a fan of promising anything here because I simply don't know if things will turn out the way I want them to turn out. But yeah, absolutely, I would love to update this Node.js course and make it even more awesome. My Node.js course helped you get a job as a backend developer. That is amazing. That is really amazing. As I said before, always amazing to get feedback like this. Thanks a lot for your amazing courses. I had nothing before your courses. Big thanks to you whatever I'm today in all because of you. That is so amazing. I don't know what to say. Thank you so much, Mohit. Mohit develops. That's amazing feedback. Why not use DeepSeek API? I will never, ever in the entire world use the official API. Definitely not. Well, I guess for this dummy app I could, because I'm not sending any important data. But yeah, I have not signed up in any way to any provider to use it. Also not to the ones that are hosting it in the US or anywhere else. So no. What's my next course? I don't know yet. Probably an update for an existing course. How do we have chat conversation history with this setup? Great question. With this setup, we don't. I'll get back to that. With this setup, it's just one prompt, one answer, that's it. There is no history, but you can enable a history here with the AI SDK, and we'll get to that. If not today, then in future streams. Same, got a first job after your courses, Node.js, React, and full stack. Amazing. Thank you so much for the amazing feedback. And thank you, Agentos, too, of course. Thank you all also for being here. Okay, so we got this post route working, and that's the first step. Now, before we'll try to add history or anything like that, I want to connect that to my frontend. Now, I have this chat page, but keep in mind that is a server rendered page. I actually want to have a client page now, a client-side page, so that I can dynamically update it and so on. And therefore, I'll actually, I guess, yeah, I'll leave the counter here, but I'll add a second client component here, and I'll name that chat2. Might be confusing, but whatever. It's my client-side chat. And actually, I'll grab this markup here, cut it from chat TSX in the pages folder, and add it here. I'll add a new component here, chat, return this markup, whoops, wrap it in a fragment, like this. And now I also need to add some code, like here in counter TSX, to render that on the client, because it's running entirely on the client. It's not pre-rendered on the server. Maybe I could enable this. I don't know yet how to do it with this Hono setup, so I will not care about it right now. Instead, I'll copy that code here from my counter demo component here, paste that into the client-side chat, target an element with ID chat, which I have to add, and render my chat here, and import this render function from Hono JSX DOM. And now I also need to grab this code here from the index.tsx file and add this to the chat page, and rename this to chat and this to chat. And of course, it's a bit cumbersome that I have to manually wire up those imports. You could probably set this up in a more elegant, automated way. I'm just absolutely not a Vite expert, and I'm happy enough that I was able to set this up and get this to work. And the benefit I have of this is that, of course, I'm not building one huge client-side application where almost all the code is in one bundle, if you don't use code splitting, which you of course should. But instead here, I can inject small, focused scripts or components into the pages that need them. So it's not a single page application I'm building here. There is no client-side routing. Instead, it's all server routed. But then I can inject interactive pieces into the pages that need it, which is also pretty neat. Still, maybe I could set this all up to automatically import the right client-side code. I don't know. But for now, it's good enough. So now I have this div ID chat here, which is controlled by this script, which is in the end my client-side component here, so that this should be rendered. Now, as a result, if I go back to my page, I should still see that form because I'm still rendering that. Now just on the client side, as I should be able to see if I move that to the other side and zoom in by inspecting this. When I inspect that, here is that div with the ID chat. And that's, of course, this div here. So that is working. Nico Albanese, you're working on the AI SDK. That's awesome. It's actually the first time I'm playing around with it. Well, I guess the second time I'm playing around with it. So you can watch me fail. Though thus far, I was successful with sending a prompt and getting back a response. It will probably get more trickier once I try to incorporate a chat history, streaming, maybe also multi-modality. We'll see how far I get. Okay. Do I also work privately for clients? Very, very rarely. Actually, only existing clients for a long time. So I'm not taking any new clients. Can you make it somewhat like Perplexity with getting up-to-date data? Yeah, I actually have a plan of slowly evolving it. Step 1 is to be able to send a prompt, get back a response. Step 2 is probably to stream my response to the frontend. Step 3 would be to preserve the chat history and use that. Maybe chat 4 is multi-modality. We'll see how easy or difficult that is. Or step 4 is to give the AI tools and, for example, allow it to search the web and incorporate results from there. So yeah, I want to evolve it over this stream and the next streams. I will definitely let you know if I have any questions, Nico. Thank you so much. Okay. I haven't done TypeScript yet, just doing my React, but can you suggest why we should go with TypeScript? What's the benefit, and should a React developer learn TypeScript, I guess is the question. So the benefit of TypeScript, of course, is type safety. So there are some errors you can catch early during development when using TypeScript, where some typo can't shoot you into the foot. So I don't know. If I forget the T here, for example, TypeScript yells at me because there is no prompt property on this object. It's things like that where TypeScript can help you, essentially. You don't have to use it, though. And I will say, especially for smaller projects, you can definitely be quicker at first if you're using vanilla JavaScript. But for more complex projects and in the long term, using TypeScript is probably better because it can save you some time which you would otherwise spend running into weird bugs or annoying stuff. Why am I using GPT-4o instead of GPT-4o Mini? I will be very honest. I'm actually not totally up to date with what's the best model here. I know that O1 or O3 would be better, but I can't use them. I'm not using the OpenAI API enough. So that's why I'm using some older model, but sure, I can use the mini one here too. The model is not too important right now though, because I just want to get it to work. Have you used deep research from ChatGPT? I have not, because I'm not on their pro plan or whatever the super duper expensive one is called. However, I'm extensively using deep research by Google Gemini, which I like a lot. I feel like not a lot of people know it or use it, but it's actually pretty awesome in my opinion, so I'm using that a lot. I'm not sure if ChatGPT's deep research is better. Interested in doing a course on clean architecture for Next.js? Clean architecture, maybe, but not my #1 priority right now. I'm not sure if I would call myself an expert on that, to be very honest. Favorite language or library that you like to work in privately? I really like to explore a lot of stuff, but typically I work with TypeScript, React, Next.js, but I also like exploring things like, or Express and Node and stuff, but I also like exploring new frameworks like Hono. I mean, the framework itself is not that new, it's 3 years old, but it's new for me. Node is more popular than TypeScript. Why the industry want Node more than TypeScript? So Node and TypeScript are actually not alternatives. Node is a runtime, and you can build Node applications with TypeScript if you want to. And the most recent version of Node.js actually natively supports TypeScript somewhat. So you can build Node apps with or without TypeScript, just as you can build browser-side apps with or without TypeScript. Why have you made I guess no course on cloud computing yet. Well, I have created a course on cloud computing. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are buying it though. So if I, if I quickly do some advertising here, I do actually have, it's probably on the last pages somewhere, I have some cloud, I have basically for the cloud practitioner exam, yeah, I have this course, which is great, it's amazing. So if you want to get AWS certified, get this course. Okay, so did you just forget Angular? I did, because yeah, there are so many technologies, also like React Native. It depends on what I'm building and so on, of course. But yeah, I like working with those technologies I teach, essentially. That is the truth. Will this be recorded and accessible later? It will be. It will be published on youtube.com at Maximilian Extended. That is a channel I created for uploading these VODs. Okay, so let's now wire up this front end to the back end, shall we? For that, I got my form here, and before we'll dive into styling, let's make this work. Since we're now on the client side, I need to send a request to my backend, so to this endpoint I created earlier, this post endpoint here. So there are different ways of doing that. I'll do it the way you could also do it in React, I guess. Set up a handle submit function. Okay, let's see. Prevent the default. Whoops. Prevent the default. Get my event target. Extract the form data. Yes. Get my prompt as a string. Makes sense. Send a fetch request. The post request application JSON to the /chat endpoint. Don't need the domain here because it's on the same server. JSON stringify prompt, that looks good. Get back, well, then actually I will use async await here. So I get back my response like this. Should add error handling, but for now we'll keep it simple. Extract that text, which makes sense because that is the property I have in my response. So extract that from the response JSON and then update the UI. And the great thing is, I'm not using React here. Keep that in mind. I'm not using that. But Hono actually has all these hooks. It has all these hooks. And I assume it would be kind of insidious if it weren't the case, but I assume they work the way they do in React. So I can use state here, import that from Hono. And in case you're wondering why I'm not using React, well, simply because I want to give Hono a try. I love experimenting with new technologies. Of course, we could also build a React frontend. Well, for now, I actually don't. Well, yeah, let's add a new type. Chat message, let's say. And do I get some ID from the Vercel SDK? It's not too important, I guess, but do I get some ID for the answer that is generated? Let's see, generate text. Well, no, I don't want to here. I don't want to call tools. Generate text. Well, I guess it's TypeScript. I can simply take a look at what else is in there. Request, response, steps, usage, tool calls. Not sure what experimental output is, but probably I don't get an ID. It's not too important though. So on a client, I will just not care about the ID right now, I guess. I can just use like the index, I guess. I want to have a text, but I want to have a role, and the role could be AI if it's the message from the AI, or user if it's my message. So that I can have different chat messages by either me or any user and the AI. And then here, get the text. So use state will be an array of chat messages. Initially, it's empty, of course. And then I got my chat messages and a set chat messages state updating function. And now here in handle submit, when I got my prompt, I should also validate it, but for now I'll keep it simple. So when I got my prompt, I'll call set chat messages and update that. And I want to update it based on the existing messages so that I simply append my new message. So just as in React, I'll use this function form for updating, get my previous messages array, and then I can call concat to add a new message and get a new array, which is the old array plus that new message, where the role should be user and the text should be the entered prompt. So that will update the state before I send the request. So right away, once the user entered the prompt, I'll update my chat here. Yeah. So that's that. I can also call form reset then, I guess, to clear it. Then, of course, once I got a response, so once I got my text here, I want to update my chat again. So again, calling set chat messages, but now I'll concatenate the response I got back by the AI. And that should be a simple yet working way of sending a message, getting back a message. Of course, again, chat history will be ignored right now. We'll get into that later, but that should do the trick. So I need to wire up that form to my handle submit function. And then here in that div, I'll output my chat messages. So I'll have the chat messages, map through them just as you would do it in React, get my message. And then for every message here, we could use a paragraph. Let's say we want to use an article here. Semantics, always tricky. And no, in that article, I'll just output the message text right now. By the way, if I get back content formatted as Markdown or anything like that, currently I'm not parsing that. Right now, I'm simply outputting it as plain text. So that is also something that could be added, but for now, it's just plain text here. Even if it were formatted as Markdown, I would just output the Markdown content as text. But that should output my messages. Now, I'm not sure if I need to add a key here. I guess I don't get any error, so I won't. Because I could only add the index as key anyways here. So, therefore, now, let's see whether this works. Of course, styling, horrible. Let's not talk about it, but let's give it a try. How are you? Let's open the developer tools to see potential errors. If I submit this, this looks promising. Here's my prompt, and then pretty quickly I got back that response by the AI. So that's good. Now let's send another message. Will AI replace programmers? Looks like a tougher question. Or my program is broken. No, it's still pending. So I guess it's generating a longer answer. And of course, we don't have any streaming yet. I will add it. I will make sure that the response is streamed in and displayed step by step. But for now, it's in one chunk. So let's see if we get the response before this times out. I can, yeah, it's a complex question, but it worked. It worked. That is pretty nice. By the way, here you can see it tried to use Markdown, and I'm just outputting it all as plain text, which is why it's pretty ugly, but it is working. Again, we have a chat history here. It's not taken into account, but we can handle this later. But that is a very basic, ugly, working chat. So not too bad for 50 minutes, where I guess half of the time I have been replying to questions, which I'll do now as well. So, I bought your new book and I enjoy the way you explain things in there. Are you going to write more books? Probably not right now, because writing a book is a lot of effort, and I also have like all these courses I want to update, streams, YouTube, and also some other projects which have nothing to do with YouTube or courses, so not likely right now that I'll create another book. By default, it doesn't generate an ID, only with the SDK UI hooks like use chat and use completion. Okay, understood, Nico. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Just joined. Are you planning to have a streaming response or just output the entire output? I will have a streaming response soon. Greetings from Hungary. You are the best. Greetings back to Hungary from Germany. Thank you so much for being part of the stream. And thank you all, of course. You should put a key. In React, you should. Here, I did not get an error. And right now, I would only use the index as a key anyways, which, at least in React, as I know, is the fallback default anyways. So adding a key here just to set the index does not sound like anything that's important. I could generate an ID on the backend and use that, but yeah, let's not worry about it right now. Yeah, I'll soon stream it. Max, you took so long to respond to this question. I'm concerned now. Which question? Maybe ask again. Might have slipped through. Cursor or Windsurf? I'm using Cursor. Not here though, because like I tried using Cursor with Hono before when I played around with it, and maybe it is just me being stupid, but I got wrong suggestions all the time because I guess Hono is too niche. So at some point it was actually, I had more work to do by deliberately not accepting suggestions or getting rid of suggestions I accidentally accepted, that I stopped using Cursor for this. But I am using it for example, for React and stuff like that, where it knows a bit more, or where the AI models being used by Cursor know a bit more. I'm more interested in React Native these days. New version release opinions. React Native is amazing. I mean, like the entire last 1.5 years have brought us so many amazing new features, the new architecture, performance. I'm super pumped about React Native and its future. And I said before, I definitely want to update my React Native course with the next version probably, because it really is amazing. With Hono, you should use Dino. I'm using Bun, which seems to work fine. Yeah, writing books is also difficult because the tech stack because things change all the time, which is also a problem with online courses, but even more so with books, which you can't easily update. That is definitely a valid point. The good thing about my React book was that React itself is in a phase where it does not change all the time anymore. And now with the second edition being released basically almost on the same day as React 19 stable, I hope it will be a bit more up to date for a longer time period. Oh, you mean that the AI took so long to answer the programmers being replaced by AI question? Well, just because it wrote a longer text. I didn't actually read the text, but I have created separate videos about that. So yeah, don't want to get back into that debate right now. You had problems returning a file response with Hono. I have not tried that. Maybe that is difficult. We'll see. Maybe once I start adding multimodality. Django or Node.js, and why I'm starting a new project which is data heavy and just will be used for mostly data visualizations and data presentation. So personally, I'm using way more Node.js. I have worked a lot with Django in the past, have not used it in, I guess, the last 2 years almost. The great thing about Django, I mean, for one, Node.js is like a JavaScript runtime, and Django is an entire framework for Python. So the better comparison, I guess, would be Django versus, well, what? Maybe Next.js or something like this. But yeah, Django has the advantage that it has, like Laravel, lots of stuff included, so you can build amazing apps pretty quickly. That's great. Personally, I'm not too much into Python, so I prefer Node.js or, Node.js these days, essentially. Which AI is better, Claude or ChatGPT? So I heard that Claude is better for coding. I somehow mostly use ChatGPT or Gemini, actually. I'm using a lot of Gemini. So if I'm using a chatbot, not for coding, but for example, Gemini Deep Research, I like that a lot. Which database will I use? Good point. I will add a database, but it will be, I guess it will be SQLite. You were my first teacher, bought your React course, landing my first job back then. Huge thanks. Yeah, huge thanks to you and everyone else who's part today, who took my courses. You're all amazing. Essentially, you're the reason why I'm able to do that. So I couldn't be more grateful and thankful. Thank you so much. Not a technical question, just want to say that I've been an Angular senior software engineer for about 8 years. Moved to a startup that uses React, did a few hours a day of your Udemy React course until I completed it. This helped me more than you could ever know to thrive in this new job. Thank you and thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this amazing feedback. I'm so happy that my React course helped you get up to speed in that new job quickly. That is really amazing. So thank you so much for the amazing feedback. Yeah, so let's get back into this app here, shall we? By the way, I just noticed I switched. By the way, I switched the way I stream in the chat here and so on. I hope that somehow I'm not getting any alerts anymore for subscriptions and stuff like that. I hope there's not too much slipping through there. If you subscribed and I did not call you out, I'm so sorry. I'm still new to this entire Twitch stuff, changing things all the time. So if something slipped through, which I guess it did, I'm super sorry. I'll try to find out what happened, who subscribed, and so on, and then call you out later. I'll do my best. Okay, so. And theoretically, I should have alerts that basically come up when someone subscribes and stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure why that's not happening, because I can see there are new subscribers. I just don't know yet where I can see who it is. So that's not too helpful, I guess. That is, well, anyways, I'll get back to that later. So let's get back into this code. We got this ugly UI, got the page reloaded, and right now I'm not really having a chat history here, and we're not streaming in the response. So let's fix the streaming part, because it would be a bit more rewarding if we don't sit here, wait for a response, and don't know if anything's happening, and if we instead would just stream in the response. That would definitely be better, I would argue. And thankfully, streaming should be straightforward or supported by Hono, because it got this streaming helper stuff, which essentially is a collection of extra functions I can import from Hono streaming. And then let's see. When I return a response, I return a stream instead, pass my context to it, and then an async function as a second argument. And then in there, I can write to that stream. So I can write data into that stream. And I can also pipe streams into each other. So I guess that's the other interesting part. How can I get a stream from the AI SDK? I think, or I don't think, I saw, but I haven't used it, that there is a function for getting back a stream, generating text, stream text here, stream text. Okay, I can import stream text, pass my model to it, pass my prompt to it. So basically like generate text, basically like this. But then I get back a result which has a text stream, and text stream is a readable stream. That's pretty good, because that should actually allow me, I guess, to pipe those streams into each other. So it should allow me to pipe that text stream that I get back from the AI API with help of the AI SDK to that Hono stream, which I'm returning as a response. So let's see if that works. If I import from Hono stream streaming, right? Yeah. If I import, I guess stream text is what I want. Yeah. I mean, it has a stream function, which I can probably use to stream anything, like raw bytes, essentially. But I can also use stream text to stream text, which is what I want to do, because I'm getting back some text. So that sounds promising. Stream text, it is. And then here from AI, I want to use the stream text function. Okay, so now we have stream text twice. So here I'll rename this to generate stream. So from the AI package, I renamed this so that here, instead of generate text, I can use generate stream, leave my options the way they are. But now I could still access the text, which is the full text that has been generated once it's done. But I don't want that. I want the, what do I want? I want the text stream. I want the text stream. So I want that. And then here, I want to return the result of calling stream text, which is now that function I'm getting from Hono, to which I pass my context as a first argument, and then a function as the second argument. A function that gets a stream object which I can use to send data into that stream, essentially. And that can be async here. So let's make it async, accept that stream object, and then in here, I want to pipe my text stream, which I'm getting back from the AI SDK into it. So piping, in case you haven't worked with streams, which you might not have, because it definitely is a bit of a more advanced feature. It's also supported by Node.js, by the way. You don't need Bun and you don't need Hono. Streams are a general thing in the web. It's also not JavaScript specific, but Hono makes it a bit easier to use that, but we could also use it with vanilla Node.js. And the thing with streams is it's essentially, well, as the name implies, a stream of data, and you can like throw pieces of data into that stream, and then somewhere else, further down that stream, if we want to stick to the river analogy, someone is there like getting those packets out of the stream, out of the river. And that allows you to continuously send data down that stream, and then someone is continuously consuming that data. That's how a stream works. And you can pipe streams into each other, which means if you have one stream, like here, that stream of data I'm getting back from the API, the AI API, you can pipe one stream into another stream to basically forward all the packets you're getting from one stream to another stream. That's what I'm doing here. I'm forwarding the data pieces I'm getting from the AI API stream to the stream I'm sending back from my Hono API to whoever is listening. And in this case here, it will soon be my frontend. And here I don't need await as it seems, because I'm not getting back a promise here. Or am I? Yeah, I'm getting back a stream text result, so no promise. Okay, so that is how I can pipe my responses here. With that, I should be fine here on the backend, I think. So with that, I can go back to my client and now consume that stream and update the UI with every piece of data I'm getting. I can still do that with the fetch function. You can also consume a stream with that. And actually, when you send a request and you get back a response, that is a stream anyways. In many cases, you'll just consume it in one go, so to say, because it will often only contain one chunk of data, so to say. But here, I want to take advantage of the fact that I can consume it step by step, so to say. So I have my response, but now instead of calling JSON to wait for the entire response and then parse the entire body, instead of doing that, I will now get my response body, which is a readable stream. So if I hover over it, you can see response body is a readable stream. That's that stream of data I'm getting from the backend. So here I got my stream on the front end, my response body. And that could actually also be null, technically, if there is no response body. So I'll check if not stream. In that case, I'll throw an error to make TypeScript happy. But then thereafter, I can safely assume that stream is defined, that it is something. And now we can set up a reader by calling stream getReader. That is how I can now consume that stream. So that readable stream object simply has a getReader method you can call. And that getReader method gives you a reader object, which you can then use to read those chunks of data step by step. Now, when it comes to reading that, there are different ways. Let's see. If I search for fetch stream, there is a really nice documentation on MDN, because MDN always has great documentation. And there you can learn all about how to consume a stream you're getting on the client side with the fetch function. Or not just on the client side, anywhere you're using fetch, of course. Here you see that response body thing. You could then write code like this to consume it. Pretty complex, but thankfully we don't have to, because we can also use a loop to read those chunks of data. And we can set up a basic while loop like this, an infinite loop which we stop at some point, or use this asynchronous for off loop, so to say. Now that should be supported, but in my experience, TypeScript does not like this syntax here, because I think browser support is still not great. Well, doesn't look that bad. But when I tried it the last time, I had problems getting this to work in TypeScript. So therefore, I'll not bother diving into this right now, maybe in the future. Instead, I'll set up a while loop like this. So here on the client side, I'll add an infinite loop with while true. And then let's see, maybe this suggestion is all we need. Const done value. So I'm then calling the read method on that reader, which I'm getting from my stream, and that is all built into the browser, essentially. This is no package or library being used. This is not Hono, not Bun. This is all built into the browser. That is how you can read from a stream. So here I'm reading from a stream. I'm basically like grabbing, I'm using my hand to put it into the river and see if there is some package there. And then when I get hold of a package, I pull it out. That's what I'm doing here with read. And I then get two pieces of information. I get to know what's in the package and whether it's the last package, which is of course important because I want to stop waiting at the river once I got all my packages. So then I'm checking if that's what the AI suggested, and it makes sense. I'm checking if I'm done, if there are no more packages, in which case we can break and leave that loop. Or since we're in a function, in this handle submit function here, we can of course also return. Doesn't matter here. If we're not done, if we make it to this line of code, I use the text decoder, which is also a thing, an API that's built into the browser, and also Node.js, if I remember correctly, which I can use to decode that value, because the value I'm getting here is a uint8 array, which is essentially an array of bytes. You could say it's some raw byte data, and I can't render that to the screen. So the text decoder helps me decode those bytes and convert them to characters using UTF-8 encoding by default, as far as I know, which would make sense. So then I have the actual text, but only from that package I grabbed. I'm in a loop, keep that in mind. So in the next iteration, we'll wait for the next package and get the next piece of text. So that's why here I'm updating my chat messages and I'm concatenating. Yeah, that's not what I want to do here though. So I want to update my chat messages now that I got a new package of data, but keep in mind, we're getting multiple packages of data for the one reply that we're getting back from the AI. So we're not getting multiple replies, not multiple messages. It's just multiple chunks for a single message. So I don't want to concatenate to my messages array here. I don't want to add more and more messages. It's just one message. But I want to update that one message. So what I will do here, and that might not be the most efficient way of doing it, but I'll do it like this for now. What I will do here is I will get my I'll create a copy of previous messages like this, or by calling previous messages slice. And again, this might not be the most efficient approach, but it is a approach for now. And then I'll use that copy so that I don't edit the original array that was managed by useState. And I'll reach out to the last element and overwrite the text of the last element here with that new text. Now, actually, I'll do it a bit differently here to create a copy and not mutate the existing object in memory. I'll create a new message object here where the role is still AI and the text is then the old text plus this new piece of text, so this new chunk. I'm adding this here to my existing last message. That's what I'm doing. For this to work, I also have to make sure that there is a last message before I start looping. Otherwise, I would be editing the message sent by the user because that is the last message before I get back a response. So what I'll actually do is before I enter the loop here, I'll call set chat messages. And here I will concatenate to my messages, but I'll concatenate basically a message with no text right now because the text will then come chunk by chunk from that loop. Yeah. And then here in this state updating function, I'll return my updated messages array, which is my old messages array with the last message being updated. By the way, the AI SDK here provided by Vercel also has a client-side part, this SDK UI, which, as I understand it, has a lot of building blocks you can use to build such a chat UI way easier than I'm doing it here. I just also like to understand what's going on, and I want to use like the Hono tech stack and so on here. I want to have full control over what's happening. That's why I'm building it by hand here. If you just want to build a chatbot as quickly as possible, it probably makes more sense to use their client-side SDK as well. Anyways, that should now update my messages here. So with that out of the way, let's see. We can again ask, will AI replace developers? Submit this. And now you can see it started streaming the response. Okay, now I got an error here. Looks like my server crashed. So it somehow worked, but then it didn't. The socket connection was closed. Okay, so I might have also simply reached my limit here on OpenAI. That is possible. Let me quickly check. Let me quickly check on my second screen. Maybe I ran out of credits. That would be great. Let's see. Well, actually, does not look like that there. Still, it looks like it is an error from OpenAI's side. Let's simply try again, right? If something doesn't work, simply try again. Will AI replace developers? Of course, my code might also have some error that creates some weird infinite loop, which then causes OpenAI to stop sending responses, but now it's looking better. Now I got a response here, streamed in from the backend, no error this time. So of course I should add error handling to make sure that everything doesn't just crash as it just did, but that is how we can add streaming, I guess. So time for more questions before I'll then probably implement like a chat history. That would make sense, I guess. Okay, what do we have? Greetings from Guatemala, greetings back to Guatemala, and of course to everywhere else in the entire world. If I want to take your MERN stack course, should I take first React and Node before the MERN stack? Well, yeah, there are refresher parts in that course, but you will definitely get the most out of this course if you learn at least the basics of React and Node before diving into the MERN stack course. Since you do so many things, what is your way of learning new things? What is your advice for learning new language framework library? So of course, the many things I do, Angular, React, React Native, Node, they're all kind of related. So it's not like I'm learning something totally new every day. So that helps. But the way I learn is typically going through official docs, reading tutorials, maybe going through courses, YouTube videos, and then building a lot of stuff. I build a lot of stuff. Like here, this project, I'm learning Hono with that project. Arguably, we haven't written too much Hono code. It was mostly like using the AI SDK, but I'm learning that as well. So that is how I learn stuff. I think of some project I want to build, and then I start building it. And along the road, I'll encounter problems, and that is how you learn even more. So yeah, that's how I learn. 12 months, Perplexity Pro, only £6. Yeah, awesome. Cool to see you on Twitch. Thank you so much for your courses. They have been a huge help. Amazing to hear that, Tomnar. And nice to have you here on Twitch. Nice to have everyone here and join this stream. V0 by Vercel is underrated. It's a great model for building frontend. I've heard so. I have to admit, I have not used it yet, but I've seen many demos, videos, and it does look quite impressive. I guess especially, of course not limited to that, but especially if you aim to build like a React frontend with shared CN, which is like the de facto standard as it seems for AI-generated React code, you can be pretty productive with that. Yeah, definitely. I hope the text decoder never hits partial multi-byte characters at the byte array boundary. Yeah, I have to admit, I'm not sure. That is definitely a valid point. I'm not sure how all these APIs that are provided by the browser and also Node.js are implemented internally and how they would deal with edge cases, how they would handle them. It is a very valid point, yeah. Is there a timeout when working with an HTTP stream? If yes, how can we handle it without modifying server-side configurations? So in general, like for all your requests, you can, of course, set up timeouts. That simply depends on how your server is configured. Yeah. So just instantiating a variable. Not sure what you mean. Absolutely add error handling. Yeah, sure, I should. You can use the AI SDK hook called use chat, which gives you messages, handle, submit. Yeah, I know. As I said, you could use the client-side AI SDK part to not have to build everything on my own. But hey, building stuff is fun, and you learn way more if you build stuff. You can always take a shortcut if you need to get things done quickly. But if you have the luxury of being able to learn something new, which we all should do from time to time, definitely build stuff from scratch, or at least parts. Build some of the things from scratch. If you only use pre-built solutions, existing packages, you can build things, but you're almost just an AI then. You just combine things without fully understanding what they do, I think. So that's why I like to build things from scratch from time to time. Is there a big difference between Hono and Next.js? Yes, absolutely. Like Next.js is this React full stack framework deeply integrated with Next.js and all with React and all these React features like server components, server actions, and it's amazing for all that. But with Hono, you're building like a backend or a full stack application that does not have to use React at all. Like here, I'm not using React. The code that looks like React, whoops, this JSX code and the rest of this file here, that is actually not React. That is a library provided by Hono. So Hono can be used to build like a standalone REST API as an alternative to Express if you wanted to. That's basically how it is. Which server does Vite and Create React App use when we run it? So Create React App, the last time I checked, or I think I recall, uses Webpack dev server during development, and then once you go for production, you have to host it with some static web host. And Vite uses the Vite dev server, which I guess they wrote themselves, yeah. But I'm absolutely not into those build tools. I'm no expert on that, so I might be wrong. My thought on web components. Yeah, web components feel like that thing that sounds awesome, but somehow isn't once you really start building them. So looks like they'll always stay in that niche. In theory, it would make a lot of sense to have like a web component date picker, which you can use in a React, Angular, or vanilla JavaScript app. And such web component date pickers definitely exist. But it seems ultimately it's always then more convenient and easier to use the React specific or the Angular specific date picker instead of that reusable web component. So yeah, and the last time I built a web component, that has been many years ago, was a bit clunky, I have to say. Yeah. How do you find ideas of what to build to learn more? You can simply clone stuff. Here I'm cloning ChatGPT. Of course, a horrible ChatGPT right now, ugly and missing a lot of features, but yeah, you can clone any app you want. Clone Amazon, clone ChatGPT, leave out many features. Like here, I don't have authentication, I don't have payments, nothing like that, but focus on like 1 or 2 core aspects and build that. That is a great practice. A variable where in your loop you're just passing in a blank so it doesn't overwrite the string the user passed in. Yeah, sure, but ultimately I need to update my messages array with every chunk of data I get, and I need to have one last message which I can then continuously update. So I'm not sure how a local variable in that loop would help. I could, of course, use one to update the text, but I still need to update my chat messages thereafter, and I still need to have a last message which I update. So yeah. If I do it like this, or if I store that in some variable, it should make a difference, unless I'm missing something here, which is absolutely possible. Can we add vector embedding in this project? Well, we could, of course, add a database, store data there, and add vector embedding. Might be interesting, sure. Maybe in the future. There are many things that can be added here. I mean, what I want to add right now is a chat history. So that would be nice. And I think the AI SDK has me covered with that too. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot you can do with that SDK, obviously. I'll have to go through more options here off stream to learn more about that. But how can I manage a chat history here? Let's see. Tool calling, prompt engineering, embeddings, image generation, generating text. Generate text, stream text messages. Yeah. Okay. So, I see. Instead of just passing a prompt to stream text, I can pass a messages array, which includes one of these: core system message, core user message. So I can add a messages array here. So instead of my prompt, I can use messages. And then in there, I can add an object, which seems to have a role and a content. Okay. So that's how I can pass multiple messages to the API. So what I need to do now is grab all my existing messages and pass them along with the new message to the API. Now for that, it would definitely make sense to store these messages in a database. But for now, just to see whether this works, I'll use a variable, which of course is not a good idea because my variable here is local to this process, to this web server, but not to the request that's coming in. So I'm now sharing one variable across multiple requests, potentially by multiple users. But I'm just using it here to try things out. So here I want to have a messages array. Can also be a constant, I guess. And the type should be basically what I have here. either a system or a user message, an assistant message. Assistant is the AI, I guess, or a tool message. So I'll add a type here, message, and I assume I can import these types from AI. So I can import the core user message is what I want here, and core assistant message. Role assistant, yeah. So I guess I can use that and say that my message is either a core user message or a core assistant message. And my messages array here, therefore, is an array of such messages. Whoops, messages like this. And initially it's empty, but then whenever I get a new request here, whenever I get a new prompt, I want to push a new object onto this array. And the same is true whenever I got a new response. Though now, of course, I need to wait until streaming is done, because here on the backend, I don't necessarily want to care. I don't care about the individual chunks, I guess, unless I want to preserve them if the connection kind of is lost. But yeah, I don't care about the individual chunks for now. I'm interested in the overall message. So first things first, when I receive a new prompt, I'll push a new, alternatively, I could also send my messages from the frontend, because there I have them all in one array. But ultimately, it makes more sense to store them on the server at some point anyways, I guess. So I'll do it here. I'll push a new user message with my prompt here to this messages array when I receive one. And then here, I'm now interested in the text once this stream is done. Now, wasn't there like a text? Yeah, which is a promise which I can await. So I could get the full text with help of that. But of course, I want to start sending my response here with stream text. So that generates a response which I have to return here. And I can't await thereafter, and I can't await before I start sending, because otherwise I block this entire streaming process just to wait for this text. So that probably will not work. So on that stream, I guess I can wait. I could wait for that to be done, but I don't know if that will work in here. So yeah, I guess to just see whether it works, I'll keep it simple for now. Push a new message here of type assistant. I'll do the same thing as on the frontend for now, just to see whether sending messages works, because that's the interesting part. So I'll push an empty message here, and then I'll essentially repeat what I did on the front end. Though here, of course, text stream is, of course, yeah, I can read it. But this, now here I have to admit, it's been some time since I last worked with streams. I think if I read here after piping it, I'm not sure if that will work the way I expect it to work. It might not. It might not. So I don't want to read from the stream such that data is then missing in one place. Const message, chat message ID, crypto session ID, user ID, role, if you want to grab everything. Yeah, but that's not what I'm trying to do right now. I mean, the shorter version yeah, let's go with the super simple solution for now, and then I'll figure out the stream stuff thereafter. But the super simple solution is to expect some history here. To be sent from the front end, because there I am already managing this. So when I send my request here to the backend, when I send my prompt, I can also simply include my history here, which is my chat messages, array. Now I will actually change this here to assistant to be in line with what's expected on the backend. So this is assistant, not AI. And I also have to be careful, because when I send my chat messages here, this update here will actually not be included because I'm still in the same function. So this state update will not have been processed yet, so to say. So chat messages here does not include this latest message. So I will actually create a new constant here, user message. Whoops, user message like this. And actually use content here instead of text, by the way, because that's also what's expected on the backend, I guess. So this here should be content. But now, why is it complaining? I mean, if I add it like this, it works. So if I tell TypeScript that this is a chat message, now it works. Okay. So this is my user message, and now with that, I can also call concat here and add that same message, because again, chat messages here should still be the old array without that message added here, due to the way React works, and I assume it's the same here in Hono. Yeah, I'm using stream text from AI. So we'll see whether that works. But with that, I'm managing my history here, adding my message here, adding my message here, sending the history to the backend, extracting the history here, and then it's this history which I want to send as messages instead of prompt. And yeah, I guess therefore we don't need to send prompt anymore, but for now I'll keep it in there. Okay, this might totally not work, but let's give it a try. If I now reload and ask, how are you? That's shown here. Let's see. Okay, we got some error here with undefined, but other than that, I got a response. Awesome. Repeat that last sentence you sent me. Let's see if it has this history. Well, it's not really what it wrote. Almost. Or I'm here and ready. Yeah, well, it kind of is. So I guess it has this context. Let's see. I'm Max. What is my name? Your name is Max. Okay, so it looks like it has this history. Now, I'm getting this weird undefined thing here. So why am I getting undefined at the beginning of every message I get back from the assistant? I did not have that before. Hi, SimpleSphere. Thank you so much for sending that suggestion. I'll take a look at it in a second. For now, let me see, where is this undefined coming from? Undefined. I mean, did I change something here on the back end? No, I still piped that to the front end. So on the front end, oh yeah, this should be content. not text. TypeScript even gave me an error here. I just ignored it. So with that, let's see. I'm Max. What is my name? Okay. So that is how we can implement a chat history. Now, of course, storing it on the front end is not ideal. Would be better to store it on the back end. It would be even better to store it in a database there. So that is what I'll do. Now, let me see. Simple sphere wrote, are you using stream text from AI? Return await stream text model. Yeah, so I can't await stream text from AI here because I don't want to block sending that stream back to the front end. Now, what I could absolutely do here is instead of piping it, I could like manually read it chunk by chunk, essentially also with a while loop here, for example, and send back a response chunk by chunk, and then also update it in a database. I could absolutely do that. I just wonder if there is some other way to consume this stream here, this text stream, which I'm getting back, without taking something away from that response stream. And I'm a bit rusty when it comes to working with raw streams like that. So I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I'll get back to that. If you call const result equals stream text, so that thing here. So is there a result in there? No, there is no result in there. I mean, this overall is a result, but from in there I'm getting the text stream. Or do I mean on that here? There is no... I'll get back to that in a second. First, more questions. Which is better for my project? Tailwind, Material, or another framework? Whatever you like, but of course Tailwind is super popular these days, and I guess another advantage is that AI knows Tailwind really well, so if you are using AI assistants, which you probably should, that can be pretty productive. We've all been there making something incredibly clunky. Yeah, especially since it's been some time since I last worked with raw streams, so a bit rusty there. I kind of feel a lack of achievement when I use Copilot autocomplete on my projects. It's really useful and time-saving, but it just doesn't give me the same kick. Am I wrong in this thought? Yeah, well, I see what you mean. The thing is, AI is of course here to stay, and I've said it before in other streams and videos, it's probably like a fine line where you shouldn't use AI too much. Not just because you are missing that lack of achievement, but also because you totally unlearn how to do things. At least that's the case for me. If I use AI too much, I forget the simplest things, which is super annoying. Plus, of course, it feels better if I solve something on my own. On the other hand, of course, not using it at all, probably also not a good idea, because I am more productive when I do use it, but turning it off occasionally and writing some code on my own without AI, it's not a bad idea, but I guess we're still all learning how to best use it. Redis or Postgres. For this app here, I'll probably simply use SQLite. Hello X, endlich geschafft. Yeah, awesome. Super happy to see you back. Been a premium member ever since you launched your courses. Wow, that is just amazing. Thank you for being part of all those courses for such a long time then, I guess. Don't know what to say. That is just amazing. Thank you so much. It has on finish. Okay, I'll take a look at that. Only call stream text. Okay, I'll take a look at it in a second. Okay, I get what you mean. I get a result here. And on that result... Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel. That is pretty interesting. So I can convert this to a response, to a data stream response here. Converts the result to a streamed response object with a stream data part stream. It can be used with the use chat and use completion hooks. Well, I'm not using those, but since it's a web response, what I'm getting back here, I assume I can use it with Hono without problems. So that sounds promising. Okay, so I can do that. I can also like get a good old readable stream. That is what I had before. Yeah, text stream response is what I actually need, I guess, because data is, I assume, if you don't just have text, not sure. What else do I have? Merge into data stream. Merges the result as a data stream into another data stream. Pipe. So here I can pipe it. Okay. I mean, yeah. I could, of course, also just pipe a bunch of streams together, I guess. Like I could create another stream here and pipe this stream into another stream, which does not change the first stream, but just writes it into a database. I guess that could also work now that I think of it. So if I have like if I have like a new readable stream here, property pipe does not exist in type promise. What? Shouldn't that work? But yeah, let's give that other thing a try. If I call to text stream response here, I'm getting back a response, and I assume, well, I assume I can return that. Cannot find name return result. What? To text stream response gives me a response. I should be able to return. Yeah, now it works. Okay. Okay, so that is what I had before, I guess. Now just a bit simpler. Will be interesting to see if that works. Does not look like it's... It looks like it's coming back in one block now with that. How about the to data stream response? What does that give me? Okay, that gives me a bunch of data. So that does not look work the way I want it to work. Anyways, it's actually not too important here. I got my stream working. That's the main thing. So I'm streaming in the response. Now what I'll need to do is I'll need to like dive a bit deeper into streams again. I'll do that off screen actually, because we're coming close to the end of this stream anyways, so that I can read from that stream here, from the text stream, basically send back a response and also use it here on the server side without taking anything away from any stream, and then store it in a database then, because that's the next thing I want to do. Therefore, what I'll actually do now, well, I guess one thing we can do is like make this UI a bit prettier. That would be something that makes a lot of sense, because it's really ugly right now. So let's say here I'll add a class, and it's class, not class name, because it's not React. Maybe use flex column gap 2, and let's see, put label and text area into a paragraph. The margin to the bottom, give the text area a background of maybe stone 500. Then also, let's use flex here, flex call, gap 2 maybe. Yep. And let's use 700 here, a bit darker shade of gray. Rounded SM and some padding, maybe a bit less padding. That looks good. For the label, I'll use font bold and make it a bit smaller, like this. Could also use a custom font, but for now I'll keep it simple. And then here, I'll wrap this button in a paragraph. Give that text right, and then here, let's say we want to use a background color of indigo PX6, PY2. So for some padding, and also make this rounded. And then give it a text color of black for some nice contrast. And I'll also reduce this gap. Actually, I can get rid of the gap, I guess. Actually, I can get rid of all these classes here now that I changed the structure and use paragraphs. So now here, I got that. Now I need a hover effect. Indigo 500, let's say. Like this. And then for the messages, let's add some dummy messages so that we can see some here. Role user content hello, and then assistant, hi there, I am your friendly AI assistant. So now that we have that, we can also add some styling here for those articles. And I'm actually not that great when it comes to design, but let's see. I'll give this a width of, does that work in Tailwind 4? 90%? Yeah. I guess. Doesn't it have like a 90%? Well, it doesn't matter. That should work. 90% and margin auto on the x-axis to center it. And then for the articles, I'll give every article a margin bottom to the 4 to have some spacing between the chat messages. So that looks good. And now it would also be nice to see which messages are from us and which messages are from the AI. So what I can do for that, of course, I have that role, user or assistant, and we can use that to change our styles conditionally here. Now let's see, how do I want that to look? Maybe, oh gosh, this will probably not look that amazing, but we'll see, we'll see. So here I'll add a class with a template literal where I have my margin bottom, and then I inject something dynamically based on the content role, not on the content role, on the message role, of course. And if that is user, I want to have a certain style, otherwise I'll have another style. So if it is user, let's say I want to have a background, I have no idea what's going to not look horrible. Let's see, maybe 600. Let's start simple. Let's use different shades of gray for the background. Okay, it looks like one background is actually... Hey, this looks absolutely horrible. So let's see if I do it like this. And now actually, how about 700 and 800? And then also I want to have some padding, 6, let's say, and round it a bit better. And let's use 900 here for the AI, so that this is a bit darker. And I could take a look at ChatGPT and see how it looks there. I could also move the prompt, the input to the bottom, I guess, which would be in line with what you have in other chats, but we can do that later. For now, yeah. For now, I guess we can leave it like that. So if I now try sending some messages again. Tell me a short story. It does so. Now, by the way, what's also missing here, of course, is that I handle the fact that this is actually Markdown. And now here it has no Markdown specific syntax, but it had before in other responses. And of course, it would be nicer if I would also parse this as Markdown and convert it to HTML code, which is then rendered here. So that's also something we might want to do. We can do that either on the front end or on the back end. So we can parse Markdown on the back end and send back the finished HTML code, or do it on the front end, I guess. The disadvantage of doing it on the front end is that we have the library that does the parsing in our front end, in our client-side code bundle. So that's why I will probably do it on the back end. But then I will also not get back plain text anymore, but instead chunks of HTML. So I'll have to construct the HTML page here on the front end. So that's also fun, of course. But that is probably the next step, making sure that we parse Markdown and that we also store the entire history actually in a database on the backend, that we have a database in general. Then we can also add authentication. We can also think about things like adding file upload so that we can share images or PDFs with the AI, depending on which model we're using on the backend, so that it supports it. Obviously, the UI can still be improved. I mean, it's awesome, but not really. Yeah, and I also definitely want to try to give my AI a tool so that it can reach out to the web and search the web, for example, if I'm sending a request that needs web search. So if I'm asking for current data, then it would be nice if the AI could do that. So lots of interesting things left here, which I want to add. But not today, unfortunately. But instead in my next stream, which will probably be next week, probably on Thursday next week. So that will be, what is that? That will be February the 13th. Then I'll try to continue working on that app, figure out that stream stuff, and do all these things. But I hope this was at least a bit interesting and helpful here. I'll still go through some questions here. But yeah, there's plenty of interesting stuff left which we can add in future sessions, which I'm totally excited for. And I hope you are too. I hope you like it too. So next Thursday. So Thursday in a week, actually, is probably the next stream. Okay, so let's see. Got a bunch of questions here. Yeah, so Danielle and SimpleSphere, thank you so much for all the suggestions regarding that stream stuff. I'll take a look at it off stream, because maybe it's also interesting to see me figure out things like that. I'm not sure. So from all the course productions on, I'm still in that mode where I don't try to waste anyone's time here, so I'll figure it out off stream. But I do appreciate all your suggestions, and I will read through them and see that I get this figured out for the next stream for sure. So what else do we have? Daniel, I see. I would need to await this. Okay, yeah. Nice to see you on YouTube. I work in Salesforce ecosystem right now and almost forgot React. I have been studying it 3 years ago from your course. Andre, that's amazing. I hope my course was helpful, and congrats on being in the Salesforce world then, yes, now I guess. I'm coming here from the reverse end. I'm going to need to check out your courses. First name and last name, if you want, definitely. That's much appreciated. If you search Maximilian Schwarzmüller on Udemy, you'll find all my courses there, and maybe there is something interesting for you there. Would, of course, be amazing to have you as a future student. In my field, any AI use is still stuck in the compliance legal loophole and likely won't be approved unless it's something built in-house due to the sensitivity of projects we work on. Yep, I guess that's the case for many companies. It is, for example, the case for the company my wife works at. And I think she's actually watching right now. So if you are, hi, darling. So, yeah, I think it's like that for many companies that AI tools are not really allowed, which is understandable to some degree. But on the other hand, of course, most companies move pretty slowly. So by the time something is approved there are probably like 4 generations of new AI tools available, which they will then have to wait a couple of years until they can use it. But yeah, it is what it is. It's the advantage of being self-employed and doing my own stuff. I can use things whenever I want to. Hey Max, is there any API that can be used to show real-time traffic data? You know, that marks the map red, orange, blue for Google Map in an Angular app. Probably, but I have never built something like that, so I can't point you towards a specific API or library here. I'm sorry. How are you? I'm fine. Thank you, software engineer. You're using generate text. Actually, I'm not using generate text anymore. But again, I'll take a look at that stream part later. Oh, you're right regarding the readable stream pipe stuff. Dumb mistake. Thank you so much. Yeah. Didn't even realize you had 2 chats combined until just now. Yeah, it's the first time for me too. I'm streaming on 2 platforms now, and I'll see how things go. But I tried merging the chats together, might make sense. I learned web dev from this man. He's amazing. You are amazing. You all are amazing. Being part of these streams means a lot to me because I enjoy having these streams a lot. Still figuring a lot of things out, but I enjoy it a lot. So having you all be part of that is just amazing. I always come late to the stream. Well, that's no problem because all recordings will be available on Maximilian Extended on this YouTube channel. Maximilian Schwarzmüller Extended, youtube.com/@Maximilian Extended. So you can watch the VOD there. I'll try to upload it tomorrow. Can you tell us how you started your coding journey and about your whatever? Yeah, my coding journey started when I was 12. I was always into, or not always, but around that time I also got into playing video games, and I wanted to build my own levels, my own games, whatever. And that's why I asked my parents to gift me some books to learn how to write code for Christmas. And I got a book about C, and I got books about JavaScript for Christmas. So I learned to code with C and JavaScript. And JavaScript back then was nothing like the JavaScript today. And C is, of course, like the perfect first language for someone learning to code. But yeah, that is how I got into it. Thank you so much, Daniel. Super happy to hear that all my courses were helpful. Means a lot to me, as I said before, but I won't get tired of saying it. That all really, really means a lot to me. Thank you all so much. I'm one of the early subs on your platform, and it was the best decision I did. Seraph, that's amazing to hear. Super happy that you got a lot out of all the content. Yeah, don't know what to say. It's really just amazing. Means a lot to me, and allows me, of course, to do what I'm doing here, which also means a lot to me. Maybe we could learn from you figuring it out. Yep, sure. I see that point. So yeah, definitely. I should probably figure out more stuff as I stream. Will keep that in mind, and I'm very confident that for the next stream there will be plenty of roadblocks, because whilst I will take a look at that whole streaming thing, piping thing, I will not figure out everything I plan on doing in the next stream in advance. So there will be roadblocks, and I think that will be interesting. So if you are interested, Thursday in a week, I would love to see you all back here on Twitch, on YouTube, wherever. I hope you liked today. Have a great day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is for you. And yeah, see you in future streams. So thank you so much. And by the way, is there a way to make Academy recognized as a Ausbildung in Germany? I don't think there is. It's nothing official, so I'm afraid it's nothing you can really make official. Yeah. So bye everyone. See you in future streams.